We are leaving Orange Beach headed to Pensacola. I am hoping Dad will let me drive.
It was a beautiful day, sun beat down, I had the radio on, I was driving, trees went by, me and Del were singing, Little Runaway, I was flying, yeah, riding down a dream, that never would come to me, working on a mystery, going wherever it leads, riding down a dream. I felt so good, like anything was possible. Hit cruise control and rub my eyes. The last 3 days, the rain was unstoppable. It was always cold, no sunshine. Yeah, riding down a dream that never would come to me. Working on a mystery, wherever it leads, riding down a dream.
Here is the path we are taking today.
Hey everybody, we are in Pensacola, Florida. We came in yesterday, and as you can probably hear and see, it's raining and pretty windy today. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to talk a little bit more about our technology and what we use on the boat and how we make decisions about where we go and when we go. And I'll take you through some of the instrumentation in more detail on the boat itself. So let's get started. So we've talked a lot about Navionics as one of the tools we use to plan our route and follow our route. And I thought I'd show you a little more detail about Navionics. It's an app on the iPad that allows us to plot a course. So I thought I'd start with a course we've got to do in a couple of days. We'll be going to from Baytown to Point South. Marina. It's planning it now. And it's mapping out a course. Now, the first thing you'll notice, and what the problem is with this, is it's not taking us through the intercoastal waterway. It automatically took us the shortest route, which is in the Gulf of Mexico. Well, we don't want to go in the Gulf of Mexico. So what you end up having to do, and what we weren't doing at the beginning, we were allowing Navionics to just take us, and that's when we ran into some problems a week or so ago, is we have to go in and we have to edit this. So instead of going this way, I want to go this way through the intercoastal waterway. So I got to take it and drag and drop it. Now it's going to start to plan us through the intercoastal waterway. Now it's planning us not in the Gulf of Mexico, but through the intercoastal. And then what we do is we just get really fine and we just follow the route all the way through. And now here, it's taking us out of the intercoastal and off a little bit. Now it's deep enough here, but what I've learned is you've got to adjust this. So you again just bring it up there, and it starts to move it up into deeper water. And then that will plan your route. Then you just save it, and then when it's time to use it, you just pull it up and you follow it. So that's how Navionics works when you're planning your route. Now when we're underway, we put it up here. We put it up here and we just start the route and we follow ourselves. Like this will be when we leave Baytown Marina, and it'll show the boat following this path. And as long as we stay on the path that we planned, we're good to go normally. The other things you have to keep in mind is your depth. So we have a depth finder here that we follow. The Simrad depth finder will tell us where we're at. And we have a backup chart plotter, Simrad chart plotter and radar, which isn't as robust as Navionics is, but for our long trips, either through the Great Lakes or across the Gulf, which we'll be doing in about 10 days or so or less, we will use this actually because it has a radar attached to it. We don't have a lot of waypoints. We just put point A across the Gulf to point B. We'll run our radar, and that will allow us to be able to see if there's any cargo ships or other big vessels that we want to make sure that we're staying plenty clear from. So that is the technology we work on the boat. Navionics is our normally go-to for our plan as well as executing the plan, but we also have the chart plotter as a backup in the event that we have issues. Okay, so we took you through some of the planning for our trips, but a key element is also the weather. And today is a great example of a day you would not want to be out on the water. It's raining, which is not a huge deal because it's not pouring rain, but it's extremely windy. It's got to be up to 20-mile-an-hour winds, maybe gusts even higher than that, and that will create huge waves out in the bay right here. They could be as high as 5-foot waves, which the boat could handle, but I personally couldn't handle it. So, no, we're not going to be out in any kind of weather anywhere near this. You might be able to focus on that flag that's blowing off that boat right there. That is not stuff you want to be out in if you can avoid it. And we do avoid it, and we use a number of different tools to make sure we understand the weather and particularly the wind. Now, some simple apps that we use just to get an idea of weather is obviously the typical weather apps you would use and have on your iPhones and computers. We use those too. They give us an understanding of general weather in the area, but we found that there's a couple of key other apps that we use, and I'll show them to you now. One of the apps that we use that's critical is one that Captain Tony Gillis told us about when he helped train us on the boat back last year. It's called Wind Finder, and it's an app that helps us identify the wind in the area. Now this is our current location, and green and yellow and orange is very bad. You do not want to be out in it. So right now it says that the winds are consistently around 12 knots, 14 miles an hour, something like that. And you would not want to be out in this. And so you're looking for it to get much better. So we're leaving on Thursday. And so this is tonight. And then tomorrow it gets kind of blue. It's still pretty windy there. The purple is what you want. And on Thursday when we're leaving, see how nice and purple that is? That's going to be very calm seas and very calm winds, which will allow us to travel there very easily. Over the next couple of days we are there. It looks like we've got pretty good wind until well, it just continues. At night it looks like it gets a little bit windier, but it looks during the day it looks like we're going to have really good wind for our travel. So that's one of the apps that we use. The another app that we use somewhat now that we're here is the Tides app, which allows us to know when high and low tide are, because that can adjust the... It's selling me an ad. That'll tell us the depths of what the intercoastal waterway can be because of the tides, and you can see we're coming off a high tide and low tide is later on in the day today. And it also will show us the severity of the tides. For the next few days, the tides aren't very severe at all, and then they start later on getting much more severe changing several feet from high and low tide, and so you just have to watch that. So that's probably the other critical app we use, besides the regular weather apps that we use from time to time. The final thing we wanted to touch on with technology, it's critically important, is communications. We have a radio that we use to monitor channel 16, which is the station that the Coast Guard monitors, and it's where you normally call the bridges, the tow operators, and other boats in the area. You can call them on channel 16. Normally they'll ask you to move to another channel to have any kind of chat, to leave 16 open, because it's really an emergency channel, but everybody uses it to communicate briefly on before switching to another channel. We also carry a portable radio for two reasons. One, when we're traveling with other people, we can monitor 16 here, and we can all agree on a channel that we're going to chat on, like channel 71 or something, and then as we're going along, we can chat with people about the speed that they're going, any issues that they see ahead. If they're leading the pack, they can say there's a log up ahead, or they're shoaling around the corner, or whatever it is. So that's very helpful to have the second. The other reason we have this, in the event that we'd have to ditch the boat, heaven forbid, we never want to ditch the boat, this is a waterproof radio that allows us to take it with us into the dinghy, and be able to communicate when we're away from the radio on the boat. That is never going to happen, but we always have it as a backup. So that's the technology on staying afloat. If you have any questions, additional comments, please leave them in the comments below. Good morning. Our last morning here in Pensacola. It's a beautiful day. It's chilly, but really hardly a cloud in the sky. Weather should be great for traveling. We're heading to Sandestin today. We've got about 60 miles to go today. We have a buddy boat with us, some friends that we got to know here, and they decided to travel with us some of the way. They're going to anchor out, whereas we're going to go to another marina. So Sophie's out for her morning walk. We're enjoying the sunrise, and on this beautiful Thanksgiving morning, we hope everybody's having a great Thanksgiving.
Follow the arrow for our path so far.